do. So thank you for that. Next up, I'd like to introduce a panel discussion. Erin, Louise, Roisin, and Becca, who are going to give us their experience as female entrepreneurs with the Connect to Success program at the University of Ulster.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being with us. I should have been more prepared and not brought my car keys and my phone up with me. Probably should have left them at the back. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce myself. So I'm an Entrepreneur Acceleration Manager at Ulster Bank. I've been with NatWest Group for just over 7 years now. We basically help entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses. So if that's something that you want to do, I'm going to do a wee plug for the accelerator here. Come and join us. We've got a new app. Download it. Yep. That's a tick in the box for me. Okay. Roisin, I'm going to go to you first. Could you introduce yourself and your business for me, please?
Sure. Oh, it's very loud. My name is Ro Garland. I am part of a duo. I'm co-founder of a company called Grand Scale. We are headquartered in Northern Ireland, but we absolutely have ambitions to go global. And as the name suggests, we're all about helping to scale other companies. So the reason why we exist is to solve one really massive problem, and it's that we have thousands and thousands of research and tech-based concepts out there. We have technical inventors, we have researchers in universities that want to take their research, commercialize it, and bring it to market. These tech geniuses and researchers have the potential to impact lives, have the potential to tackle climate change, and really make a big difference in the world. The issue that they face is they have a huge gap in commercialization, skills, knowledge, confidence. And that makes it really difficult for them to know what to do about taking their concept from a concept to bring it to market and also create a sustainable business. And that's what we do. We help bridge that gap for them. And the way we do that is through our mentorship and our programs. So that's what we do as a company. It's the best job in the world. We work with hundreds of companies. We work with spin-outs, startups, and scale-ups. So as the name suggests, we're all about helping companies scale. But equally, we're really interested in scaling up our business too, so that we can support companies all around the world to succeed internationally.
Thank you, Ro. Becca, I'm going to come to you next, please.
Perfect, yes. Hi everyone, I'm Becca Hume from Inklytech. So we are a technology company in the public safety space, and primarily we are all about communications in high stress situations. So we're mostly known for a product of ours called Tap SOS, which allows the UK public to connect into 999 non-verbally and accessibly. And that really started off by considering how do the likes of the deaf community contact 999 if the primary method at the moment is voice-based. And it's evolved from there, looking at various different needs or situations as to why would people maybe be challenged or have a barrier whenever they're trying to seek help. So we're really passionate about making sure that people have access and access when they need it most. So Tap SOS allows the 999 comms, but we're also moving into the non-emergency space too, which could support people whenever they're moving about through transport networks, or if maybe there's an issue with maybe gas utilities, where there's a gas leak or issues that need to report. And again, all of these services at the moment that we are assisting with are voice-centric, and we believe that there's a great need and opportunity to change that, that most of us, whether that's through maybe a limitation, but also just a preference that people now want to digitally do things and do it at our own pace rather than follow a process or a person at the end of a line. Maybe you're waiting on a queue, or there's just things that aren't maybe in your control and people want to now do it in their own pace. So we're there to provide a new method of contact and make sure it's accessible for a lot more people.
Thank you. Louise?
So to explain Needy, I'm actually going to ask a real quick question of everyone in the room, just checking we're all still here for the last one of the day. Very quick question. Put your hand up if you have ever received a gift that you didn't want. Yeah, there we go. And keep them up if you've ever given someone a gift that you actually don't think was very good. Is that even more than the first one? Well, there we go. That's why we created Needy. People aren't that great at giving gifts. 1 in 5 gifts, sadly, end up in landfill, which is really awful because it's something you're trying to do to be well-meaning. So we created Needy, which is a corporate gifting concierge service. We match the perfect gift to your recipient from the best local independent businesses, and we do that using psychology and AI. So right now we are working with, we're still pinching ourselves every year, like some of the companies that we're working with are massive world global leaders, and we are matching them, all of their branded merch, all of their new starter gifts, all of those other gifts with local independent businesses who really deserve the business because they're amazing, unique gifts.
Perfect, thank you. So before we dive into the panel discussion, just for a little context, I'm going to give you a short overview of Connect to Success. I'm sure there's some people in the room who aren't familiar with it. So Connect to Success was set up to tackle gender inequality. Originally based in Portugal, it came to Belfast through Joe Kennedy III and the US Consul General James Applegate. Participants are paired with teams from global corporations to gain insights and accelerate their business growth. So this is done over the course of a year. It's run by the Ulster University with partners like ourselves in Ulster Bank, Kainos, Goldman Sachs, Stripe, and Google. It's the power of university and industry coming together to support our amazing founders. So without further ado, I am going to move on to our amazing panel of ladies that we have here. Becca, I'm going to put you up first, if that's okay. So you've been partnered with Kainos. What value have you gotten so far through working with Kainos?
Yeah, I've been delighted to have that as my partner. They've been very generous with their time and resource, so I've got 5 mentors. I think most people have just 1, but I've got 5, across finance, marketing, AI, technology, and just general within the policing sector. So they really made sure that they partnered you with an organisation that would fit with your business needs and your expectations for growth and forecast, just to really help you along the way, to strategize and to really have that support. Already, I mean, we only started in January and it runs through till next January, and the program is a commitment from your mentors and also you as a mentee as once per month for a 3-hour session. Maybe it varies across different organisations, but Kainos have said I can have 3 hours of their time. And essentially, I can bring to the table and donating, like, I really need help with this month, what do you suggest? And already, because of where we're at with one of our products, we're looking to pilot with police forces, and with Kainos very heavily involved in the policing sector. They have said about, their experience with AWS, who we use as our hosting service, and they have offered us a pilot and to support that with their client police forces. And just, I suppose, for us setting KPIs and measurements and how that's going to run throughout the pilot, I could set those myself and maybe limit or put a bit of a barrier as to what I think should be our success metrics, but actually having Kainos as a bit of a sounding board and who have done many pilots with AWS before, have been able to have a conversation very real saying, what should I do here? Like, this is the template I'm working from, how would you do that? And actually, it's just kind of raised the bar for us. I think I've set my expectations a little bit low, and even just kind of what I'm trying to strive to achieve. So it's helped me just kind of raise our profile and just kind of put us in a position that, yeah, we might be small, but we can also create big impact. So it's just been amazing to have somebody and an organisation so large just to have as a bit of a sounding board, just to kind of cross-check, you know, does this sound right? What do you suggest we do here? So it's been brilliant in that way.
And that's the perfect lead on to my question for yourself, Louise. So you've been partnered with Stripe. So why is it important for large organisations to help those who are emerging?
It's so important from a smaller organisation's point of view. We are working with some really big companies and brands, but my gosh, the procurement process, trying to navigate all of the red tape, understanding how these organisations work. I mean, for somebody that hadn't previously worked in a big corporate before I started my own company, I have been blown away by just how many hurdles you have to get over to get through. So where Stripe have been so instrumental is they've just been real with us. They've just said, when you receive these forms from a big organisation, it's because they want to understand X, Y, and Z. And I think their transparency with us has really enabled us to actually win other big contracts, because now I feel like we've kind of got the inside information, which has been really helpful.
Perfect. Ro, so you've been paired with Goldman Sachs. Yeah. So what is the most valuable thing that you've gotten so far from that pairing?
Well, the one thing that we would teach all of our clients is that your network is your net worth. So we recognized already the power of having a global titan be in your corner. So we too have had the luxury of having 5 different mentors, some based in Dublin, some based in London. But it's not just access to those 5 mentors that we're benefiting from. They're putting some manners on us in terms of, the due diligence that we enforce in our clients. They're putting some manners on us as well. So there's a lot of accountability, and I think that's a really positive thing to have someone that doesn't have any vested interest either which way other than to help us. So that's been really beneficial. The second thing is we have access to those 5 incredible mentors, but we also have access to the connections that Goldman Sachs can open for us. As an ed tech business, it's really beneficial for us because they run 2 global entrepreneurial programs, 10,000 small businesses and 10,000 women. And again, just this month, they opened the door to the curators of one of those programs, the 10,000 Women. And Leanne and I literally sat in a room, it was like mastermind, and we grilled them because they are delivering their programs globally. We have scaled our business to the point where we can very comfortably deliver our programs nationally. So we're at that inflection point where we need to be able to put in the systems in place for us to be able to scale our operations without reducing the quality and the impact that we bring. So the 2-hour session that we had with that team will certainly fast track us and allow us to avoid many of the pitfalls that our clients benefit from our knowledge on. So every day is a school day, Erin, and we're very open to learning.
That's good. Louise, your whole business premise is based on AI and being able to match the right people with the right gift. To put it into context, when you set up the business, ChatGPT, for example, was 2 years away from being released to the public. With AI and machine learning moving at such a pace, what has this meant for your business?
I really love this question because I remember all the chat in the company. I mean, it's a gift matching algorithm that we've created, right? We're all about using psychology to really match that perfect gift. So when ChatGPT came out, the team were like, oh no, people can just pop it into ChatGPT and get the answers they need, right? They can't. You can try it, but it's not that good. But what we have actually done, instead of just being completely freaked out by it and hiding under a blanket, which was option 1, we actually decided to, of course, use our tech team, do all of the research, work out how we can harness and use it. And actually what that's meant for the speed at which we've been able to improve our AI has been incredible. So we're now using it instead of working against it. We always knew, like I say, machine learning was always the way we were going with the algorithm, and it's just supercharged it is the best way I can put it.
Good, good. Becca, moving on to yourself. Your company has been at the forefront of tech and provides safety, connectivity, and inclusion across many industries. You've been working with emergency services for a long time, but also violence against women and girls and domestic abuse, as well as the military and defence. AI can, at times, introduce bias. How are you thinking about bias and accessibility when integrating AI into your systems?
I have to say, I'm really passionate about this topic, and I came prepared with notes, and I've just seen a massive clock at the stage. There's only 4 minutes left, so I'm going to pull out some of the things from my notes, and I'll probably read quite a bit, only because I'm conscious of time. But it is such a huge topic, and actually, there's a huge responsibility that comes with this too, especially in the areas that we work in. So as you mentioned, domestic abuse, military, and just emergency services as a whole. The areas where trust, equity, and safety just aren't ideals, they're essentials. So for us, our approach is to be proactive and intentional in how we build AI that's not only smart, but safe and inclusive. So we haven't started using it just yet, but we are moving towards AI, and also with that then building principles that we will adhere to so that we produce responsible AI. So I thought I would share some of the thoughts that we have as part of our principles, just if anyone in the room's considering adding in or already have it but want to kind of tweak things to be a bit more inclusive. So first, the data collection must be inclusive. Bias often starts with the data, and I suppose there's a big need for the prioritization of diverse and representative groups, making sure that things aren't misrepresented or marginalised communities aren't considered. And a practical tip here is just around co-creation, so that's what we will be doing. For instance, working in the space of domestic abuse, we're going to be partnering with frontline organisations, victims and survivors to really understand the language and context that will then be needed in the data sets. This just helps AI then not miss any critical signs or make harmful assumptions, especially for those who are already facing extreme barriers and access to support. So again, an example of this in terms of AI, a person, or sort of, for example, like the system may incorrectly assume that someone's safe because they've maybe not been in contact, but actually in reality they're isolated or under surveillance. And so there could be signs that are missed, and messages could be written in code, for example, for people who perhaps have to speak in that way that they can't openly dialogue. So assumptions can be deeply dangerous in our fields, which is something that we're considering as a starting point. As well, we'll always make sure that there's a human in the loop. With sensitive situations like 999 response or military evacuation, we believe that AI can't make the final decision, and so a human judgment will be there, because AI won't replace that. But AI can support in identifying patterns across the board, whether there's repeat calls from a particular location, which may otherwise have been seen as in isolation, or it can flag then keywords or changes in people's tone that maybe wouldn't otherwise be identified. So there are a few things. I'm just really jumping through my notes here, so apologies if it sounds a bit disjointed. Thirdly then, we want to build transparency and also accountability into the system. So we want to explain how our AI works, what decisions it's making, and who is it accountable to, just to build that trust, particularly in safety tech. So for example, we build in plain English text explanations just to explain, for example, if maybe it was producing a high-risk score of 87%, it would also explain the factors that contributed towards that, so such as the amount of repeat calls from a number, or a keyword that keeps appearing, or a behaviour over time. And that can help then frontline staff to make that decision. And also it gives a real good, clear audit trail if something were to go wrong, so holding that accountability. My fourth point is really just to monitor after deployment. So biases can evolve, and so we'll be running regular audits build systems that can then flag issues whenever the problems occur so that we can stay responsive. So if an alert system is excessively flagging certain cases or postcode areas, it could be an indication it's learnt a pattern due to historic data, and actually if we monitor that in real time, we can identify it early and make sure that it can be retrained. And my last point then is just around accessibility. It needs to be baked in from the start. And that's ensuring that you're engaging with your end users and closely working with people from various backgrounds and vulnerabilities, or people with maybe low connectivity or in resource limited environments, and just to make sure that genuinely those tools are available and accessible for people who need it most. And my last point then is just responsible AI for us means building with people, not just for them, especially in safety and our work of inclusion. AI can't be neutral, it has to be actively supported, and it needs to support equity and dignity.
Thank you very much. We are very short on time. Ro, I'm going to put you on the spot, okay? I'm going to ask you in a few words, can you describe what it's been like scaling your own business, and what part of technology, and what part do you think technology can play in the future? Give me a few words. Or a sentence.
I'm not
I'll take
really
a
good at
sentence.
that, Erin. I'm not good at that. The audience already knows I'm not good at that. Technology is crucial for us.
Yeah.
We built Grand Scale with the view to scale. And we could only do that if we could automate the heck out of it. My old boss, Danny Moore, told me or challenged me back in the day to automate myself out of a job. And that's what I've been doing ever since. It was really good advice. So we've employed marketing technology. We've employed our education platform as well to be able to scale up our operations. We too are looking at AI. I'm going to come to you, Becca, whenever we really get our plans in place to make sure that we are inclusive and doing everything right. And the reason why we want to bring tech into our business, it's not about using the latest tools, the latest bells, whistles, and so on. It's about creating the systems that we need to realize our ambition, which is to be a global company.
Fantastic, thank you. We are going to leave the stage in a moment. However, Louise has a very small ask from the people in the room.
Just a very small one. If there is anybody in here who is looking to either sell their own products into corporates, then please come and speak to Laura, or anybody that's looking for any corporate gifts or merchandise, go and see Laura on the way out and grab your Needy branded merchandise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.